So once again, recording has been started. If you don't want to be recorded, and we will place this recording in our YouTube channel. If you don't want to be recorded, uh, you can drop off now. And as I said before, this call is joined by our Microsoft team members as well as uh, you know our partners and our customers. So with that, um, happy Friday, everyone. And we have an exciting topic today to talk about, which is bicep. And I'm not talking about any kind of exercise or muscle building. It's basically the next generation of templates. So let's quickly, what is bicep? So first of all, let's talk about a minute about ARM templates. ARM templates are the means to deploy Azure resources and infrastructure as code. Are the means that's a platform provided by Microsoft based on JSON. So you have JSON-based templates that you use to deploy. Okay, Bicep is an abstraction on top of it. So what it is doing is it is providing a simple declarative language on top of ARM templates to deploy your resources. So um, you don't have to worry about the complexity and nuances of the JSON because just keep in mind when JSON is a language which was developed for machines to talk. Okay, so your browser talking to the backend source, sending some data back or web server, and sometimes it becomes really hard to, as those templates become big, it's really hard to understand, to comprehend what's going on. So that's where Bicep comes into picture. It removes some of the uh, kind of the complexity of JSON and provides you a way to focus on the configuration of your infrastructure, and instead of worrying about okay where I missed a comma or where where there's a bracket or something. So that's what you focus on. So that's the goal. That's and basically it's a transpile language. I mean, it's the same relationship Bicep has with ARM as TypeScript with JavaScript. So what you can write code in Node.js, or but at the same time you can get TypeScript, which provides you type safety and a number of features, makes things simple for you. But in the end, when you compile it, so basically Bicep will be compiled into ARM just like TypeScript is compiled into um, JScript, JavaScript. So that's what um, transpilation means or transpilers do. So in the end, yes, ARM is being deployed, but you are developing code in Bicep. So that's the goal. The second thing is no matter how good your language is, if you don't have good tooling, that's meaningless. I mean, I think I have I can't program anymore without the squigglies and all those uh, help and like alt tab, autocomplete and things like that. So what they have done is they have done an excellent add-on into VS Code extension, so you can do a lot of stuff. It really helps you, and we will see in a demo how it can help you build these complex files or large infrastructure as code segments, with VS Code and with a lot of ease. Third is it's modular. So basically, you can if you can quickly build a collection of these templates, the Bicep templates, and use them as modules to build more complex infrastructure as code pieces, just like Lego blocks. So you have different Lego blocks of different size and style, and you can build beautiful, big, larger Lego pieces from that. And one of the key promise of this thing is day one coverage. So you don't have to wait. Um, that okay, uh, when the provider will be available, then we will start using it. As soon as the service goes into preview, even if it isn't a preview, you will have and you can use it. And with this latest release point 3, they have a lot of new feature added. They have ease. You don't have to compile it before you have to compile and run. Now you can directly deploy, just like you deploy any template, and it will do all that behind the scene. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. Uh, Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I got a weird warning that there's some issue. So sorry, folks. So basically, that's what it does in terms of kind of compatibility. And one more thing that I want to mention, that with the point 3 release, it is fully supported. So if it's by the coverage plan. So if you have a support coverage plan and you're planning to use it, you can use it, and Microsoft support will be able to kind of provide support in case of any issues. So with that, let's move on to the next slide. Why we are not moving to the next slide? Okay, so this is why bicep. Okay, just keep in mind, um, this is specifically focusing on Azure deployment, making it easy. That's the thing. And this is this goals and non-goals. We talked about some of the goals. Let's talk about some of the non-goals. It is not to have one language to rule them all. I mean, people are always going to be using different languages. Just think of programming language. Some people program in um, Java, some people in C sharp, some in C, C++. So everybody has their own Python, and there are always new languages which provide certain features which are kind of a specific to certain areas. So you always have this variety that people will be kind of developing in. So that's not an issue at all. It is basically focusing on the Azure platform, providing you the ease of use of deploying Azure resources through infrastructure as code on Azure platform. At some point, the non-Azure resources will come into picture, but right now the focus is um, Azure resources. Okay. So without further ado, I think we're gonna spend next 20 minutes on how this thing works and on the demo. So let's go. Uh, so let's go to the VS Code, and let me just increase the size a little bit. Hopefully everybody can see. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to create any questions so far while we are typing. So I'm just going to create a,
There's a question
yes,
from the chat.
please go ahead.
How are you positioning this to the Terraform customers?
Oh yeah, so as I said, we are not saying one is better. Terraform is a great provider. They cover different platforms. So it's not any competition with Terraform. It is specifically focusing on Azure platform. And once again, as I said, the position is there are always going to be multiple languages. Okay, just like C sharp, Java, things like that. So it's not like one is better than the other. It's just like each language have their scope, purpose, and people who like something in that language, or group of people who like something in it. Okay, okay. So very simple. I'm the way you start creating it is typing in resource. Look, IntelliSense is there. So I'm just gonna. The next thing is um, we are gonna uh, give it a name. So I'm gonna call it um, demo storage. And by the way, this is just a name. You can give it foo or bar or something. This is no meaning. This is a variable name at that moment. And now what resource you're creating. So I'm creating storage. So I'm just gonna put storage account. I'm gonna pick the latest version. With that, that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna do this. And by the way, what it will do is Now it will create the storage object for you. And I sorry, if I move on those squigglies, it will tell me what are the key properties it needs for this thing to work. Okay, so it needs name, kind, location, SKU. So let's start with first of all name. Okay, I'm just gonna do a name, and I'm going to name it NCAPL store. Okay, something like that, and we will change it. By the way, just see there is no comma, so that's another thing. Okay, location, I'm just gonna use resource group, and the method is there, dot location. Oh, sorry, I screwed up. Dot location. So that's what I'm gonna use. Kind, I am, look, wonderful. The IntelliSense once again gives me what options there are. I'm gonna use storage v2 and then SKU. Okay, so SKU, as soon as I type, it's an object. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here, and then what is the name of the SKU? Okay, I'm going to use standard LRS. Okay, that's it. That's all you need to create your storage account. So let's make things a bit more interesting. That's pretty vanilla. I mean, we need to pass a storage prefix. So let me do this. The name, the way you pass parameters is param. Okay. And with that, the name of the parameter is name, and you can name it anything once again. So I'm going to put name prefix. It's a string, and I don't want to provide a default value. I want user to provide this value. The second one is um, is global. So basically, do you want to create a GRS account, or you want to create LRS account? Okay, so you see how I'm going to use these things in here. So just to make sure the name is unique, I'm going to use in a way. I'm sure you have used the in other string kind of a string manipulation. So I'm going to use dollar sign, and I'm going to put name prefix here. And the next part is, once again, I'm going to put dollar sign, and I'm going to put unique string. This is a function, if you remember, in ARM. And as its parameter, I'm going to pass resource group dot ID. Okay, so this is going to generate a unique string. Everybody with me so far? Nothing fancy, nothing uh, very hard to understand. And now for the name, okay? It allows you to use a tertiary parameter, question mark. If it is global, then I'm gonna use standard GRSX. And you will see it's very interesting. You see, it's it's showing me squigglies. What is the problem? It's saying, hey, you are using a wrong name. As soon as I remove it, so basically at this moment, your um, bicep file is ready to run. So let's do this thing. Let's do a build. So, folks, if you are not speaking, can you please mute yourself? Thank you. F, and I'm going to name storage bicep. So what it's going to do is it's going to build this file. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now it has generated the JSON file. I just want you to see both files side by side. Okay, this is the JSON file. Some of the things that kind of very verbose, in some cases overly verbose, a lot of commas, 32 lines. This one, sorry, this one only 12 lines. So I mean, almost, I mean, less than half the size. So that's one of the things. Okay. The next thing is let's go back and let's try to do a deployment. So we're gonna do AZ deployment group, and I'm going to name um, group is bicep. I already have the group, and for the file, I'm gonna name storage bicep, and I'm not letting it create it. I'm just saying, hey, show me how this deployment look like. So I think I misspelled deployment, and I think I screwed up. So hard for me sometimes to remember. Okay, name prefix, we're gonna put APL, true, it's running, and it's gonna show you in a second what it will generate. So the point is, you can take this template and you can generate this bicep template. So it clearly shows you that this is the storage account that it's gonna be building. So far, any questions? Okay, so we saw how we can create a template, how we can, create a bicep, simple bicep file, pass parameters. So let's make things a bit more interesting. Let's say that we are deploying a full-fledged resource group with a couple of storage accounts, and we want to use this template as a module so we can reuse it. Okay, so let's see how quickly we can do that. So I'm gonna create something called storage rg.bicep and start from there. In that, once again, we start with the resource. Okay, and this time we're gonna call it storage rg, which is gonna be creating the resource group. Okay, so we are not using the existing resource group. We are creating a new resource group. This is a resource group. This is that. With that, we are gonna say this, and it will start creating it. But before we do that, there is a something called target scope. So what is the target scope of your template? By default, it's resource. But since we are already deploying a resource group, but since we are already deploying a resource group, we want it to be subscription. So we are going to do here target scope equal to, and we're going to say subscription. Okay, this is important to note that you have to do that. So now it is saying it is missing name, location, and things like that. So for name, let's pass a parameter string rg name, and we're gonna use that. Sorry, I did the other way around. It's the name and then string, and that's the one we're gonna use. So for name, I'm gonna call it RGD. Okay. The next thing is location. Location is a must-have, and we're gonna use deployment dot location. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Nothing out of the ordinary. All squigglies are gone. So now we're gonna add two storage accounts. So let's see how we can add variables now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to add var. I'm gonna call storage infos, and we're gonna say equal to this, and this will create an array. And in that array, we have two members. First one, we're gonna call, and their properties, the storage prefix, we're gonna call it APL1, and then is GRS. We're gonna call it true. And the second one, I'm just gonna copy paste it and we go from there. So as you can see, there are no commas or those funky stuff. Um, and we're gonna make it false. Okay, with that, so that's basically, and now we are gonna use the module. So see how kind of easily it is gonna create a module. So once again, module to name. So we're gonna call it storage module, and it can be once again anything. Okay, and it automatically picked up a file. It says you have a bicep file. If there are multiple, it will show you multiple. You can go into the folders and pick a bicep file, but here we're gonna pick one, and then it will give us option. Okay, do you want to do a for loop? Do you want to do an object? And in this case, we want to use the storage module using the storage bicep file we have, and we want to loop around it to create multiple, um, item. So we're gonna call storage um, infos. Yes, so we will storage infos, and we're gonna call it storage info, this single member. And in the case of module, let's move our squigglies. It says you have to declare name, params, and scope property. Okay. So the scope of this, let's declare it first. This is gonna be storage RG. So we will create it in that storage resource group that we're gonna create it behind the scenes. So this is done. The next thing is name. So for the name, we are gonna use, put simply, we are going to use, um, in the meantime, any questions, folks, please feel free to ask. And I just want to get everybody's comments. Is it too
I was
difficult, too
just wondering,
hard?
is Bicep out of preview mode? Are we likely
No,
to
as I
use
said,
this
it is
in
supported.
production?
It is supported. So yes, I mean they're going to continue to enhance it, but since point three, you can actually start, using it. Sorry, getting support on it. So yeah. Storage prefix, and why it is still complaining, it says params. Yeah, so we have to provide params. And look what's gonna do. Once we say params, it's gonna say this is an object. So now we have to provide params. And if I do this, it is picking up the parameters that the storage.bicep require. So if I go quickly to storage.bicep, it has two param. Name prefix is global. It's picking it up. Smart enough. So that's what I was talking about, the good tooling, which makes things much simpler, in terms of, um, how we can use it. So this is storage prefix, and the next thing um, is global, and which is, I'm just going to do cut paste here just to save time, is GRS. And for some reason, it's not picking up this property, but that's simple. We can just paste it. So this is all done, no squigglies. Everything is kind of populated. So with that, I mean, we have, okay, what about the output parameters? How we handle the output parameters? So for that, um, let's do this. We're gonna do output, and we are gonna we are gonna call it storage IDs, and it is an array, and it's gonna be equal to, once again, we're gonna do a for loop, and in this time it's slightly different, name, comma, I in storage info. So we're just gonna use its index to get the output. So here we go, storage ID, and it is equal to, 1 second. Second, I think I missed that, so I may have to do a little bit editing. Okay. Storage ID, and we are gonna mark it storage module I dot miss. So, okay, one thing to keep in mind, that's one thing that is sensitive about the new line character. So you see that as soon as I remove the new line character, put it the right place, everything changed. So that's something you have to be careful about. Okay, so with storage module one dot outputs, and it is gonna be, did we declare an output in storage.bicep? Oh, we did not. Okay, so let's declare an output here quickly. Output storage ID out string equal to demo storage dot ID. Okay, so we created that, and now when we go to storage backup, it's gonna get that ID out. So you see that? Very simple. So now it has, now everything is there, and we can run this. And so let's try it out. And this time it's not gonna be group, it's gonna be sub, and I have to give a location. So I'm gonna give a location East US2, and the file name is storage rg, sorry, rg dot, one second. And I have to remove this since it's no resource group, so it's we are doing a subscription. So with that, choose to specify. Hold on a second. I think I have one. Hmm. Hold on a second. I think I have done.
Maybe try all capital, Navid.
Sorry.
Maybe try all capital for the region.
Let's try that. That's weird. I'm not sure why. Oh. Okay. So right now we are on time. So I mean, I will debug it later on, but I think I missed something here. But
You
this
might need to
is,
use the other name, like the full name. There's like two locations, a long and a short.
this. I think I'm. Let me just see here. I just tried it a few minutes ago.
Can you try all lowercase?
Yeah, try that, man. Okay, never mind. So I think the point what I want to convey is that you can use this to deploy resources, and and this makes it kind of a very, very simple. I mean, if oh, one thing I want to show you. Let's do this. Let's AZ bicep build, and we're gonna do storage. It's gonna create the JSON file, and look at the JSON file. I mean, it has almost like 113 line. On the other hand, this one is only 32, so almost 4 times improvement. Just give you an idea how quickly it can. So just to quick wrap up. Sorry, we are a bit over time. Just a quick wrap up. This just take a look at it, try it out, see what your feedback is. They're still evolving it, adding new capabilities. And and by the way, since with point 3 release 0.3, you can use it for production. So see if, what do you think about it? So with that, any questions? I know we went a bit over. Okay. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I hope to see everybody in a power lunch session next week.
Our lunch session.
Thanks, Nafid.